Well, Uwin Nai, thank you very much indeed for joining us, direct from Rangoon there. And also with me here is Dr. Zarni. It's a brave man. It's a brave thing to do.
Indeed. It's not very easy to make this call-in participation from Rangoon, especially if definitely he's under watch. He has been a prominent critique of the regime, and so I really admire this man.
Now, I mean, one of the big discussions at the moment is the whole question of sanctions. The West in particular seems keen to step them up. I think we can get, I believe Alan Wheeler is on the line now from Chiang Mai in Thailand. Alan, thanks very much for joining us. What did you have to say about that issue, actually, of sanctions? Is that the right way to go?
Yes. Okay, this is Alan Wheeler speaking from Chiang Mai in Thailand. My point about sanctions is I don't see at all what good they can do. We've got North America, Europe applying sanctions. We've got Southeast Asia and Asian countries, China and India in particular, supplying Burma with goods. Burma is supplying countries in Thailand with gas. So the military junta is getting everything they need without bothering about sanctions.
Are you saying that sanctions are of no use?
Sanctions are of no use unless all countries involved comply. If not, they're no use at all.
So let's be realistic about this, Alan. In your view, what chance on this planet of all countries complying, particularly neighbours?
Very little. Equally, engagement doesn't seem to be working either. So we're left in limbo, and unless something else can be done, possibly sanctions focused on certain industries. I'll say the oil and gas industry. That's what I used to work in. I'm retired now.
OK, Alan, well, look, thank you very much indeed for that view and some expertise coming with it there. I've got a couple of emails on this issue of sanctions. Let's start with Andrew Przybylski. Andrew, I hope that's a correct pronunciation of your name. From Edinburgh, stronger sanctions and consumer boycotts of those countries who use their vetoes, brackets China and Russia, or countries where avarice is held in higher regard than ethics, brackets India. This is what Andrew's saying. Ultimately, it's the people of the world and Burma who will force the change. It's ultimately up to you and me. Another one here from Mindy in the US. I've gone through the economical, political and social difficulties in Burma. Sanctions are not helpful, have long been ignored by the military government, who are in fact gaining more wealth and power. But lower and middle classes suffer the consequences. And also this from Bernard Hyacinth in Bangkok, in Thailand. Of course, I'm convinced the solution to Burma is not economic or with military sanctions. Decades of ethnic conflicts, pre- and post-independence, continue to plague the nation. What could be done at this core level to restore order while seeking other constructive ways? Ending on a question there, Bernard, thanks very much indeed for that. Well, on the phone now, I think we have Zoya Fan, who's a Burmese refugee, a member of the Free Burma campaign here in Britain. Zoya, thanks very much indeed. Your view on sanctions?
Right. Sanction is what we've been calling for years. And the suggestions of sanction has been tried and failed is so far from the truth, because sanction hasn't actually been tried yet. The fact, the reality in Burma is there are millions and billions dollars and investments in Burma, and the situation is still getting worse. And more human rights violations happened and all committed by the regime in many ethnic areas. And the poverty is increasing. People suffer more and more, and even the leader of democracy, Aung San Suu Kyi, remains under house arrest, and sanctions hasn't been tried. And
well, you say sanctions haven't been tried. Let me put this to you. The US and the EU now have what look like fairly similar sanctions: an arms embargo, a ban on new investment, bilateral aid ban. They've also got bans on, restrictions on visas, a freeze of assets. They are sanctions, aren't they?
That's what I'm just going to talk about. The only country that imposed a serious economic sanctions on Burma is the United States. And the EU banned investment on companies to invest in state-owned enterprises in Burma. And in Burma, this is illegal anyway in Burmese law to invest in state-owned enterprises. And what happened is simply more billions dollars get into the country, and the regime itself, they use this almost half of the revenue spending on arms and military and attack on ethnic nationalities and crack down on human rights activists in Burma. And the question is, do we provide this regime with guns, or do we provide them with money to buy the guns from other countries?
Right. Well, Zoya, if you just stay on the line, if you would, please. I'm joined now by Howard from Perth in Australia. Howard, Zoya's message is we want sanctions, we want real sanctions. That hasn't happened yet. What do you think?
Well, that is correct, because they're targeting the wrong areas. Money laundering, drug money laundering. If you get rid of that, then slowly not quickly, you'll dry up a lot of the money that goes to the regime.